Carol Gilligan here, and I would like you to vote for me for president. First of all, I was born November 28th, 1936, in New York City, New York. I majored in literature. I graduated summa cum laude from Swarthmore College. My master's is from Radcliffe University in clinical psychology, and I got my doctorate from Harvard University in social psychology. I wrote the book not too long ago called In a Different Voice about psychological theory and women's development. I also taught with Eric Erickson at Harvard University. Y'all may know Eric for his theories. He is a great colleague. But in 1970, I became a research assistant with Lawrence Kohlberg. Now, Kohlberg was known for studying moral development, but as some of you may have heard, that he only studied men. So it was hard to get a full basis of research off only studying the male social development and moral development. Also, it was said that some of his theories and researches were only done with a specific male group, which could also hinder some theories and some results. But I went on my own way, and continuing from studying with Lawrence, I decided to specifically look at women's roles and the gender role in women as the moral development continues. So, as I started to study girls and study how they develop and how they develop morally, I looked at really interviewing their voices. I thought about who is speaking, in what body are they speaking, and what story are they telling, and then in what cultural framework is that story presented. Now, looking at all those questions as a whole, I just started to really dig in to not necessarily a feminist role, but a feminist role in a different way. So looking at feminism in a different voice and looking at males and females and how they morally develop. Now, rather than thinking that male and females are completely different, because we are not so different in all ways, I thought about how the moral tendencies of women and the moral tendencies of men and how they were raised and how they grew up and how they continue to think as they morally develop. So my theory is based on a care-based morality and a justice-based morality. Now, looking at a care-based morality, women are raised with that tendency with their mother. So they're raised with that caring tendency of wanting to care for others, that intuition, that wanting to help others in a caring way morally. Now, on the opposite side of that, there's a justice-based morality. And I think men are raised more in a justice-based morality, where they are thinking about right from wrong, what is fair, what is equal. And that's how they morally develop. Their tendencies go towards more justice-based, and women go towards more care-based moralities. So 3 different stages, and this kind of piggybacks off of Lawrence Kohlberg's work, but going from that, I have the selfish stage, which is I love me, transitioning to I love you. Then there's the social conventional morality, talking about I love you more than I love me. And then post-conventional or principled morality, talking about I love myself and you. So those are the 3 stages that my theories really divided up into. Now, after I finished my theory, I continued working at Harvard, and then I switched over to the New York University, but I started working with a program that strengthened healthy resistance and courage in girls. This was at Harvard. This started to include boys as well, and the program is now called Harvard's Project on Women's Psychology and Boys' Development in the Culture of Manhood. Now, overall, my theory really just divides it up into moral development between justice-based morality and care-based morality. So when voting for me, I want you to really think about how men and women really morally develop, because I strongly believe that they develop in 2 different ways, but coming together as a whole. Now, I think this is good for the classroom in many different ways. One of the ways is you can divide your classroom into group settings or into group pairings based on the knowledge that you know about how they morally develop. So if we have a care-based and a justice-based morality, then we're going to divide our groups up. We're going to divide our classroom up into groups having boys and girls. We want two different viewpoints on the topic as a whole. So I think that's one positive about having my theory in your classroom. Another pro to having my theory in your classroom is being able to view your students as a class as a whole on how they morally develop in the 3 different stages and in the 2 different moralities, seeing them as a justice-based morality and a care-based morality. Now, I would say that a con to my theory could possibly be that you as a teacher only view your students in that one morality. So, in saying that you see your male students as just being justice-based and thinking only justice-based, and then your female students only seeing as care-based. So really, when looking at your classroom as a whole, I want to encourage you to view your students in all different possibilities and looking at them and their viewpoints in all different ways. Please vote for me. Thank you.